Good afternoon, and welcome to the second installment of Erinn's Book Club. The last book that I did was fiction, so I do try to do a fiction book and then a textbook or an information book so that I continue my education along with having the fun reads. So the non-fiction book that I picked to read this time was Dressage for the Not-So-Perfect Horse, Riding Through the Levels on the Peculiar, Opinionated, Complicated Mounts That We All Love by Janet Foy. Okay? So I got this book and I thought, this is going to be perfect. I'll be able to learn something to do with my horse, who is not perfect, along with myself. I thought this would be a book that would teach you how to work with the mount that you have and not necessarily have to have the high-end warm blood mount in order to enjoy the sport of dressage. I'm going to say right now that I was really very disappointed in this book. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of really good information here, especially in the lower levels, where us peons are. I just got a feeling like maybe the author didn't understand what she was trying to write about, or maybe I didn't get the right persona that I was trying to get, but she was very close, or very quick to say near the end that if your horse doesn't fit your needs, if you've got a horse that you want to go up on the higher levels with and it doesn't fit your needs, then by all means sell that one and get a new one. And it kind of turned me off right then and there, because a lot of times if I'm going to be getting a book like this, it's not because it's because I've got a horse that maybe I couldn't spend thousands of dollars on, or and go through the levels. This is a book for the horse that isn't perfect. So if I have a horse that isn't perfect, I don't necessarily have the money to buy a brand new good horse. And I was really hoping that she'd be able to work with us on the horses that maybe aren't the top dollar mounts, but you know what, are great mounts, and we would learn the joy of dressage even just to better our horse. Whereas with this book, it was very ingrained into the showing part of it too. So maybe I had my expectations wrong. Also about this book, the layout I found very, very frustrating. I like how she put each exercise into a separate chapter, but then she would describe the exercise, then you'd have to flip through and find the rule book about the exercise, and then flip back and she would tell you some of the faults that horses will have with the exercise, but she won't tell you how to fix those faults there. Now you got to flip past the descriptions of how to train the exercise to learn the faults. So I think that it would have worked better if she said, okay, so here's the exercise, here's the description, here's what the rule book says, here's how you train it, and then here's your troubleshooting. Like if you did it all in a section so that it flowed better, that would help a lot too. Now, the lower levels I thought was a great read. It showed a lot of good explanations on some of the basics of your transitions and that kind of thing. And I do think that I will use that a lot. Now, throughout the book, it was also a lot of personal stories, like this kind of thing, where she tells you about how, her training has worked and made her horses wonderful, and that's all well and good, but if I didn't believe she was a good trainer, or at least knew her stuff, I probably wouldn't have bought the book. So it was some horn tooting there too, which kind of turned me off a bit. But near the end, I thought, okay, she's finally got it, because right near the end it says, don't forget to smile and be kind to your horse, and that was wonderful. I enjoyed that thoroughly. And then she started talking about her horses, and I thought, well, this would be a great read, because then she's telling us where she started and how she got to where she was, and that kind of thing. But there was one expert here that got me rather upset and really lost a lot of respect in the book, and it was about a horse of hers that had the quirk of kind of spooking and spinning out and taking off in the dressage test. And apparently she had a rider that was going to ride the horse after, and she says here, years later, when I was no longer riding Lago, another rider had taken up the reins. I warned her about this quirk, and she felt that she knew better than me, and much to my delight, during her first Pre-St. George ridden at the Los Angeles Equestrian Center, Lago's quirk returned and she was eliminated. Let this be a lesson to all those riders who have been advised by another rider regarding their particular horse and his habits, likes, and dislikes. When someone with more experience with the horse than you tries to share something important, please pay attention. So, to me, this sounded like, na 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 na, I was right, she was wrong, and she got eliminated, which sounded kind of cruel. I mean, okay, so what you said was correct, but do you really have to gloat in somebody else's failing to listen to you? And just because you have what you feel is more experience doesn't necessarily mean that she deserves to be eliminated. It just set me in the wrong way, and I'm getting hints of what the horse world show industry is kind of like, and I'm not liking it. Again, the beginning of the book was wonderful, and really even the end of the book was very good. It had very good instructions on what to look for and what you want to be ridden, and how to ride it, and what to do for your troubleshootings. All of that was nice. Not put together well, but very nice. But I don't think I'd recommend this book to another person. I just am not happy with the way she came across. So I may be out to lunch, and I'm definitely not a show rider, so that's probably part of it. I'm not caring so much about what I do in a show, so maybe this is just the wrong book for me. But all in all, I might give it a 4 out of 10. So thanks very much for listening to me, and feel free to put your opinion on the comments below. I don't mind if you disagree, that's not a big deal. So yeah, thanks very much for listening. But dressage for the Not So Perfect Horse is not what I expected, and didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would.